Hi, Design and Draw. Let's talk about our next step. You've created your collage, and we had a cheat sheet for that. You did that in your sketchbook. I've got everything on my collage here. The next thing I did was I traced it. I traced an outline. Now take a look and you can see how detailed I actually did trace this with a mechanical pencil or a sharp pencil. I put all the highlights in where the paint is. I put all the detail from all this little image here. So the more value changes that you can trace and the more details that you can trace, the easier this is going to be for you to do in marker. So after you have completed that, what I'd like for you to do, some of you are going to want to use pattern behind these. Some of you will not. If you have yours bunched up and you have really tight images, pattern's probably not going to be for you. I want to show you a couple. This one here chose not to do pattern. They just did a little hatching in the background, a little stippling in the background, because all of their images were pretty close together. There was not a lot of empty space. Here is another one that did a very tight composition. So this would have made, if they would have put pattern in the back of this, it probably would have been too busy. So they just did a very simple stipple in the background. However, you can see that their images are very, very detailed with hatching and texture marker technique. So on the other hand, if you decide, hey, yes, I do want to put pattern. This one, of course, was hiking and woods. You can tell that they chose pattern that went along with their theme. Like there's a tree pattern here. There's a boot pattern here. These kind of look like leaves. So you can do pattern to match your theme if you choose to. So how are you going to do that? What's this going to look like? Well, once you have your composition here, you're going to decide, all right, where do I want to put my patterns? You should have 3 to 4 patterns that you've printed out. How many are you going to use? That's what you got to think of first of all. So I'm thinking I'm going to just draw a line here, underneath here, and I'm going to go up, and I'm going to create one pattern in this section right here. I'm going to create another pattern that goes here, and it goes down over here, and it comes down on the other side of my paint bucket. And then I'm going to do a third pattern here. Or maybe you're going to do one pattern, a second pattern, and you're going to go back to the first pattern. That's entirely up to you. So I have printed out 3 patterns. No need to cut these out unless it's just easier for you to cut out. So you're going to put on your light box. Hold on, it'll come to. There we go. And you're going to decide. So this area right here, this top area, is where I want to put my first pattern. I am going to choose this pattern here. This, what I'm doing, I am simply outlining. I am not coloring anything in. I'm not shading anything in. I am just doing the pattern, and I'm doing it behind all my images. I want to make sure that I am just seeing the outline of my pattern. Excuse me. Okay, so if I run out, I'm just going to move it. I'm going to keep going. On the second one, I'm going to come down here, and I've decided that I'm going to do this triangular pattern. So it is going to butt right up next to that first pattern. I'm doing the same thing that I did before. I am not coloring in anything. Don't waste your time doing that because you might not want to color it in when we start doing it with marker. So I am just going to trace all my pattern nice and neat with a very sharp pencil. And I'm not going to do this whole thing, but I'm going to show you that this is what it's going to look like when you get done. So you can see how much more busy this is going to be unless you decide that, hey, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to do some shadows and some stippling, or maybe you don't need anything back there. So that is going to be up to you. If you are unsure and you do not know if you need pattern or not, email me, talk to me in class, and we'll chit chat about it and we'll decide. So that is the next step to this. This is tracing your contour line and adding in pattern. See me for the next one.